Okay, so we're diving into AI and the economy today. And, everyone's talking about how AI is going to, like, double economic growth and stuff.
Yeah.
But is that really realistic?
Well, there's a ton of hype out there, but if you look closer, it's more complicated than that.
Oh, okay. So what's the real impact going to be? Like, should I be worried about, you know, robots taking over my job?
Well, one leading economist thinks AI will probably boost GDP by maybe 1.1 to 1.6% over the next 10 years.
Hmm.
It's decent growth for sure, but not like some massive overnight change.
Yeah, that's way less than what you usually see in the headlines. Why such a small prediction?
Well, it all comes down to, what kinds of jobs are actually being affected right now.
Okay.
We're seeing AI being used mostly for things like data processing and pattern recognition,
Right.
like analyzing financial data, writing up basic news reports, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's automating parts of those jobs, not, completely replacing them.
So it's more about, like, AI changing how we work,
Yeah.
not necessarily who's doing the work.
Exactly. It's more about, giving people better tools and insights rather than totally replacing them.
Okay, interesting.
And this actually brings up a key point, the difference between machine usefulness and worker replacement.
I like that. Machine usefulness versus worker replacement. Tell me more about that.
Sure. So AI can be designed, in a way to just make workers more productive,
Right.
giving them tools and information to do their jobs better. That's the machine usefulness side of things.
Okay.
But it can also be designed to just totally automate tasks and, essentially replace human workers.
So it sounds like there's a chance to actually use AI for good here,
Oh, absolutely.
like actually empowering workers instead of pushing them out.
For sure. Think about it like AI could help, biotechnologists develop life-saving medications,
Yeah.
help architects design buildings that are better for the environment. It's all about using this technology to solve big problems and create a better future for everybody.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard some people argue that, even if some jobs are lost at first, eventually economic growth will, benefit everyone.
Yeah.
They point to things like the Industrial Revolution as kind of an example.
Right.
Is that a fair comparison?
Not really, no. The Industrial Revolution actually gives us a really important lesson. The benefits of technology, they don't automatically reach everyone.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying there's a risk that the benefits of AI will only go to a small group of people.
It's definitely something to be concerned about. If you look back at historical research, for instance, you see that in 19th century England, the gains from industrialization they weren't evenly distributed at all,
Hmm.
which led to, social unrest and inequality. It took decades of struggle for workers to get a fair share of the prosperity.
That's a pretty sobering thought. It sounds like we need to be, really proactive about making sure AI benefits everybody, not just a select few. So how do we avoid making the same mistakes?
Well, the Industrial Revolution really shows us that technology is only as good as the system it's a part of. We have to be really careful to make sure those AI benefits, get spread around to everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what can we actually do? How do we make sure AI is helping everybody in the future? What would that even look like?
Well, imagine a world where, AI is like a personal coach for every worker,
Okay.
giving them training and support that's specific to their needs and goals.
That's a cool idea. It's kind of like we were talking about before with the machine usefulness.
Right, exactly.
Using AI to help people reach their full potential.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of, replacing teachers or trainers, AI could actually help them reach more people and give more personalized help.
Hmm.
We could also have AI tools that help workers, make smarter decisions and get the information they need more easily.
So instead of just getting rid of jobs, we could use AI to make the whole workforce better.
Exactly. Like, think about doctors using AI to, analyze patient data and make better diagnoses.
Right.
Or construction workers using AI-powered tools to design buildings that are, more efficient and use less material.
Yeah, those are great examples. But how do we make sure those tools are available to everyone, not just people with, special skills or access to expensive technology?
That's a really important point. We need to focus on creating AI applications that are, easy to use and affordable, and they got to be easy to integrate into the ways people already work.
Gotcha. So making AI as user-friendly as, like, our smartphones, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
I like it. But even if the tools are accessible, some people are still going to be worried about losing their jobs, right? How do we deal with that?
Well, we got to acknowledge that, yeah, some jobs are definitely going to change because of AI. But there are ways to soften that impact. Like, first of all, as we were saying, we need to prioritize AI that's designed to, work with humans, not replace them.
Okay.
And then we need to have strong social safety nets, things like retraining programs and job placement services to help people who are affected.
So it's kind of like a two-pronged approach. We got to both shape how AI is being developed
Yeah.
and provide support for the people who are impacted by it.
Exactly. But job displacement isn't the only thing we need to think about.
Oh, okay. What else?
We also need to make sure AI doesn't just make existing biases worse.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. How could that happen?
Well, AI algorithms, they learn from these huge data sets, right?
Right.
And if those data sets reflect, the biases that already exist in society, then the AI systems are basically just going to learn to be biased too.
So if the data is biased, the AI will be biased.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you give me an example of how that could play out, like in the real world?
Okay, so imagine an AI-powered hiring tool. It's being used to screen job applicants. But it was trained on data from a company that, maybe had a history of not treating women fairly.
Uh-oh.
The AI might end up, unintentionally favoring male candidates over female candidates just because that's what it learned from the data.
That's a little scary, honestly. So
Yeah.
we need to make sure the data used to train these AI systems is diverse and actually reflects the whole population, right?
Exactly. We have to check for bias in these algorithms, and we need more diversity in the people who are actually developing AI.
Yep, that goes.
And beyond that, we need clear rules and regulations about how AI is developed and used. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about how it's governed and how it's put into practice.
So, like, safeguards to make sure AI isn't being used for bad things, either on purpose or by accident.
Right. Another concern is that AI could be used, for malicious purposes,
Okay, like what?
like spreading misinformation or making those deep fakes that look so real you can't even tell they're fake.
Yeah, that's a little unsettling. How do we prevent stuff like that?
Well, for one thing, we need strong cybersecurity to protect AI systems from being hacked or manipulated.
Okay.
And we need to educate people about the dangers of, AI-generated misinformation. We need to teach people how to tell what's real and what's fake online.
So raising awareness and making sure people are media literate, that's a big part of this too.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, we need to have open, honest conversations about the ethical and social implications of AI.
Okay.
Policymakers, industry leaders, researchers, ethicists, and the public, everyone needs to be involved in this conversation.
So it sounds like we need everyone to work together to make sure AI is used for good.
Absolutely. The way AI is developed and used, it should be a collaborative effort.
Right.
We have to consider the needs and concerns of everyone in society.
Yeah, AI needs to serve humanity, not the other way around.
Exactly.
This has been really eye-opening. We've talked about how AI can empower workers, the potential risks we have to watch out for, and how important it is to work together to shape a positive AI future. But we're not done yet. There's still one big piece missing: the role of governments and industry in all of this.
Right.
So join us in part 3, where we'll dive into those topics and explore some possible scenarios for how AI might affect our lives in the years to come. Welcome back to our deep dive on AI and, well, how it's going to impact the economy. We've been talking about how AI could change the way we work, the risks we need to be careful about, and how important it is for everyone to work together.
Yeah. And now let's get into the roles of governments and industry leaders.
Okay.
They're the ones who can really steer us in the right direction, make sure AI is used for good.
Right. So let's start with governments. What can they actually do to make sure AI benefits everyone, not just a select few?
Well, governments are really important for, setting the rules of the game when it comes to AI. They need to make sure there are clear ethical guidelines in place.
Okay.
And they need to make sure companies are being transparent about how they're developing AI and hold them accountable if something goes wrong.
So basically regulations and policies that make sure AI is developed and used responsibly.
Exactly. And governments can also play a big role by investing in research and development,
Well,
supporting the creation of AI technologies that can help us tackle some of the big challenges we're facing, like climate change or developing new medical treatments.
Right, yeah. And what about the workforce? A lot of people are worried about their jobs, right? How can governments help people adapt to all these changes that AI is bringing?
Education and training are going to be absolutely essential. Governments need to invest in programs that help workers develop the skills they need to succeed in a future where AI is everywhere.
Okay.
That could mean, retraining programs for people in industries that are likely to be disrupted, but also things like boosting STEM education to get, future generations ready for AI-related careers.
So helping people learn how to work with AI rather than being replaced by it.
Exactly. And we shouldn't forget about public-private partnerships either. Governments can really help bring together industry leaders, researchers, and policymakers to collaborate on how AI is developed and used.
Right. That kind of collaboration is really important, isn't it? Make sure everyone has a seat at the table.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it sounds like governments have a pretty big role to play, setting guidelines, funding research, preparing the workforce, and bringing everyone together.
Mm.
Now, let's talk about industry. What about the companies that are actually building and using AI? What responsibilities do they have?
Well, the biggest thing is they have to develop and use AI ethically and responsibly.
Okay.
That means making sure their AI systems are fair, unbiased, and transparent,
Right.
and that they're using AI to benefit society as a whole, not just to, boost their profits.
So it's not just about making money, it's about the impact AI has on people and the world around us.
Exactly. And companies also need to educate their workforce about AI. Give them opportunities to learn new skills and adapt to the changing workplace. They need to invest in their employees and help them succeed in an AI-driven world.
So companies need to recognize that their employees are valuable and give them the tools and training they need to keep up with AI.
For sure. And just like with government, open communication is key.
Okay.
Companies need to talk to policymakers, researchers, and the public about AI, share what they're working on, and listen to people's concerns.
So fostering that sense of shared responsibility and working together,
Yeah.
figuring this all out as we go.
Exactly. So where does this all lead us? What does the future hold? It's impossible to predict exactly how AI will impact our lives down the road, but there are a few possibilities.
Okay.
In a best-case scenario, AI could revolutionize healthcare,
Okay.
lead to earlier diagnoses, personalized treatments, and help people live longer, healthier lives. It could transform education, offer really personalized learning experiences for every student. And it could even help us address some of the biggest challenges facing humanity, like climate change and poverty.
That's a pretty optimistic view. AI helping us solve big problems and make our lives better in all kinds of ways. But you said there are a few possibilities. Are there other scenarios we need to think about?
Oh, of course. The potential benefits are huge, but we can't ignore the risks either. If we don't develop and use AI responsibly, it could end up making inequality worse. It could lead to a lot of people losing their jobs without a safety net. And there are even potential threats to privacy and security.
So we need to be both optimistic and cautious. Take advantage of AI's potential, but make sure we're doing it safely and responsibly. What can we as individuals do to, get ready for this uncertain future and make sure we're not left behind?
Well, the key is to never stop learning. Keep your skills up to date. Stay informed about AI developments, be curious about how AI can be used, and be ready to adapt as the workplace changes. It's also really important to develop your critical thinking skills so you can tell what's real and what's fake online, especially as AI gets more sophisticated.
So it's about being engaged, informed, and adaptable. That sounds like good advice for pretty much any time of big change, not just with AI.
Oh, absolutely. And remember, the future of AI is not set in stone. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make, the conversations we have, and the things we do.
Right.
We all have a role to play in making sure AI is used to create a better future for everyone. A future that's more equitable, more prosperous, and more sustainable.
That's a great message to end on. It's clear that AI has the power to change our world in amazing ways,
Yeah.
but it's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI and its impact on the future.
It was great exploring these issues with you. They're really fascinating and important to talk about. And to everyone listening, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. The future is being written now, and we all have a say in how it unfolds. Until next time.